I mean, you played right in the heart of his prime. I mean, you were number 3 in the world at one point. You got paired with him a lot. I believe the PGA at Medina, which you just helped redo. Was it you, Phil, and him?
Yeah.
The first 2 days. I mean, you were right there. What was it like going through Tiger Woods in his prime? Because everybody's like nowadays, like, God, I wish I would have seen Tiger. I wish I'd have played against Tiger in his prime. I'm like, no, you didn't. You don't want any part of that.
No, I don't know if you did. Well, I mean, you did for the experience,
Yes.
but not because you thought you weren't going to beat him. No one was going to beat him. I don't know. He was special. I mean, we were basically the same age. He's 18 months older, I think. And we were kids in Australia. And when he played LA in 1991, he was like 15 or 16. He got an invite. And the announcers were talking about, this kid's going to be great. And isn't it great? And I'm like, wow, yeah, he can't be that good. He can't be as good as me or a couple of my other friends. You know what I mean? Like,
He's all right.
And then when I got over, the first time I saw him play for real was at the Western at Pointer Woods.
What a place.
Sort of mid-90s. And we were all bouncing 3-woods, like bouncing drivers into the trees at the end of the range. He was flying 3-woods up the top of these trees. So he was hitting it 30 yards past us, and I'd never seen anything like it. And he didn't win. I think Kribel beat him that week in the match play. But I'm just like, this guy's a whole nother level. And then about a month later, the next year, I saw him play at the British Open. Stevie Allen, you know Stevie Allen? He'd qualified and I didn't qualify, but I got his family ticket. So I was sort of walking around, had really good access at Lytham 96 and watched Tiger shoot 65 or 66 in the third round. I'm like, yeah, this kid's different. He was different. And then I played with him a whole bunch. I mean, that day at Medina, 2006 PGA with him and Phil, that was the first time they'd ever played together in a major, which was hard to believe, I guess, at that point. But I guess they'd just never paired them together. And it was just pandemonium.
I mean, how many people were following that? There had to be nobody else on the golf course.
Yeah, that's why they put them in separate waves. That's why they never played Thursday, Friday, because like we need TV. We need one of them on each side.
I mean, there was 300 people inside the ropes, at least. You know, I mean, it was just nuts. Anyone with a credential was inside the ropes. And I got into lunch, I think, the first day, and I can't remember who. I was just sat down at a table as you do, and I'm having lunch, and someone's like, this is a weird major. There's no one here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is the biggest crowd in the
Been. Yeah.
But the other side of the golf course, there was nobody. The whole tournament was watching one group. It was amazing. And of course, Tiger, every single time there was high expectations he'd go and do well, so he goes and wins the tournament. That to me was the best. I mean, we've all played with, I mean, guys like DJ and Brooks and Scotty and Sergio and these guys who can play outrageous golf. It's just like, wow, this is a really high level. But Tiger, every time the expectations were high, he met them or exceeded them. Every single time, never didn't exceed expectations. And it's just, I don't know how you do that, because that's the biggest anchor in golf is your own expectations, right? You just beat it every time. Incredible.
And when he's in contention, like that, I mean, it's so hard to close out a golf tournament. He did it like virtually every time they held a lead.
He was a genius at finishing 72 holes in front of everyone else. I mean, Thursday, Friday, he was pretty casual and you'd be talking. It was like a normal Thursday, Friday with anyone else. Saturday, he'd be a little bit more serious. And Sunday, you couldn't talk to him. Like, he just wouldn't even look anyone in the eye. He was almost meditating. You know, he was just walking really slow, really measured. And he just somehow knew how to get to the end in front of everyone else. He was just better at it than everyone else.
That was going to be my question. Like, you mentioned Thursday, Friday, like he was talking and stuff going down the fairways. Like, what do you talk to Tiger Woods about during a round?
I mean, him and Stevie usually had some pretty weak jokes. Just normal banter. What are you doing? And we actually had kids about the same time. My kids are about the same age as Tiger. So after a while, that was right around when we were having kids, 2006. We would check in and see how the kids were going, and, you know, normal stuff.
Like playing with him, obviously in that arena, it's just a whole nother level. Like, I got to cover him for the first time last year at LA, and walking with him, just covering him in the media side, it's just nobody else has to deal with the stuff he has to deal with. Like, for you as a player, it's got to be awesome to play with him, but at the same time, you're like, God, there is so much going on right now compared to when I play with other people.
Oh yeah, it was just incredible. Like, just the people like you, the people inside the ropes, as I said, was trying to make room on some small tees at Riviera for all the people who want to be inside the ropes. And there's just noise going on. I liked playing with him. I always played well with him. Well, not always, but mostly played pretty well. The group in front of him's the worst spot.
Yeah.
By a long way, because everyone's rushing to try to get a view of Tiger Woods, and they're all rushing to the group in front. That's the worst spot, always the group in front. But with him was just fun. It was inspiring. You knew you were with like the best player of all time, or one of the best players of all time. comparing your game to his, well, not really comparing your game to his, but seeing what you could learn and pick up, and you were kind of hoping that he would do something Tiger Woods in front of you, so you were like there. I was there when he did this, you know. No, I was very lucky. I think everyone, I mean, you didn't want any part of it, really, but we're all pretty fortunate to play in that era, you know, to play with a guy that good, sort of maybe the best ever. Pretty special. And just the stuff he would come up with, he could be playing rubbish all day, but he would always hit the important shot well. Like if you were at the Masters, he'd be playing rubbish all day, but he'd miss every fairway, but then he'd pipe one down 15, hit it to 8 feet, make eagle, and fix his round. You know, he just never missed the shot that mattered. You know,
that's cool.
Plenty of people hit good shots and bad shots, but he just somehow hit the ones that would really make the most effect on his score. He always hit a good shot.